Hello, everyone out there in the Facebook world. We are here live for our next Power Hour with Power Players with Kevin Kaufman here from Group 4610 in Arizona. So what's up, Kevin?
What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. We're super excited to have you here on our show as our next guest. For those of you who don't know, this is something that we started about 6-7 months ago, just our contribution back to the real estate world, even entrepreneurs, just people looking to grow business. So if you like what you see here today, we've got a Facebook group. You can go to tghtpowerhour.com and ask to join that group. It is a private group right now. And we're just constantly having some of the top minds in the business, top entrepreneurs, just sharing content in there. You can see more videos from here. And it's just a great place for y'all to help, learn to grow your business and talk with other like-minded people. Do me a favor. As we start to go through this, Kevin is just a major badass in what he does. And he's going to be telling us everything that he has done up until this point to grow his business and what he foresees for the future. So if y'all have any questions or comments, please go ahead and make them. I'm able to actively see these, so I'll make sure that Kevin's aware of them. If you're watching with us live, put like a capital L in there. And if you're watching on replay, put an R, and that way we know. So Kevin, let's get started. I'm super excited because you and Fred specifically have been mentors to Nick and I before you probably even knew that y'all were mentors to us. We've been watching your business for the past few years, and then you and I have gotten a lot closer. You've been a mentor, a coach. We've become friends, and so I'm super excited to have someone like you in my life and on this show. So tell people a little bit, of a background, what you did before you got into real estate.
Oh, I always like to say I worked for the devil, which means I worked for a bank. So before real estate, I was mostly in the finance world. So I got a job when I was 20 as like a credit card collector, which was really honestly it was sales because it was so soft, what they would call soft collections. It was really a sales job. I just didn't realize it at the time. And I did that for 6 months and then got accepted into this program for this company and kept just parlaying my experience into jobs I didn't deserve for a long period of time and had kind of run the gamut on that until I decided that I could no longer work for the man, and I was going back to school full time, trying to figure out what I was going to be when I grew up. And then sure enough, I discovered real estate during that journey of going back to school full time. And I ultimately, once I realized it was real estate, I sort of dropped everything and jumped full bore into that. And that was 2007.
Oh, what a great time in the market to want to jump into real estate. So when you found it, when you started getting in, was it still good and the market about to go down, or were we already going down?
So in Arizona, it was already going down. It was so bad. I had friends try to talk me out of doing it. It was pretty bad here. So I don't think Texas was too dissimilar. But the Phoenix market was definitely prices were going down. For the most part, by then, everybody had realized, something bad is happening. And I guess everybody but me.
I was going to say, so what in you said, sure, let me run in when everyone else is running out? Solid idea.
The truth is I just decided it didn't matter. I wasn't smart enough to know that the market doesn't dictate whether or not you can make money. It just dictates your strategy. I wasn't smart enough to know that. But what I am really good at is pretty much doing the opposite of what everybody else does. And so it just didn't matter to me. I don't know. Truthfully, I didn't take it into consideration. It didn't matter to me. I was going to go do it and kind of follow what I wanted to do no matter what.
That's really awesome. So you get in, and what's it like when you first get in? How do you get started? I mean, that's the main thing so many agents struggle with, and you're in, maybe you don't even realize how tough it is during that kind of market to get started because you don't know any better. So
yeah, definitely. This was an ignorance is bliss type of scenario for me. And I see it as most people saw it. And I think people even felt sorry for me. But I saw it as actually an advantage, not a disadvantage for my future growth. And so honestly, what I did is I learned as much as I could. Now, I didn't really have any direction. I didn't have any any really direct mentors like in the business. I didn't have a coach or anything like that. But what I did have is I had ample opportunity to learn. And so I can remember like my first 8 months or so, I felt, now this is an exaggeration, but it felt like I was in a class 4 days a week for anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. And that was mostly at like our local brokerage. I would either be taking classes that the broker taught, or I would be taking classes that one of the other agents were teaching. I was just trying to absorb everything because I was scared. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was trying to figure it out, to be quite frank with you. And so I didn't know what else to do other than learn and take what little action I knew how to take. And so I just kept taking that action over and over and over again. And eventually, you start to get your footing, and it takes a while.
It does take a while. And, luckily for you, you didn't become the forever student that I see some real estate agents become.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, though. There's so much content. So I'm glad that you took that and you implemented it. So, I mean, we're talking 2007. So your main strategy at that time was short sales, right? If I'm correct?
Well, I wouldn't, again, I'm not sure that I'm smart enough to give myself credit for making that a strategy as much as it was just an opportunity I ran into. And so I sold the house. Luckily, my very best friend had been waiting for me to get a license to buy a house. And so I had that transaction under my belt. And then I've had another one that was like a referral. And then another one that was like a referral from my past coworkers. I started to realize a theme here. And then my now business partner, Fred, comes to me and he needs some help with these things called the short sales. I literally didn't know what a short sale was. And truthfully, he didn't really know either. And he actually had said to me when he was telling me about these listings he had that he needed help with, he actually said, I'm not even sure if the bank who would pay us for doing these, if the bank will even pay us or not. And I'm like, what the hell? I need something to do, so let's do it. So I think my third transaction, my third actual sale, maybe I did third or fourth, whatever, was a short sale. It was actually one of Fred's listings that he was gone on his honeymoon and out of the country. And he tricked me. I would say he tricked me into doing all the dirty work for him. But he listed the home. I co-listed it with him. And then I took the offers and I went to the bank and negotiated it, not knowing what the hell I was doing, and closed the deal, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, okay, I could do that. And luckily, nobody else really wanted to.
Yeah. You know what? We see that in our market too. We have a few people who really specialize in it because a lot of people don't want to. And it's a very different process. But that's a big testament to you, your work ethic, and obviously kind of why you are where you are today, because you still saw the opportunity, even if the immediate return of the money wasn't there, which is awesome. Quick question I want to ask that I think a lot of the people who end up watching this, because, this is for not only great teams already in businesses, but it's for the single agent too. So when you even made this jump into real estate and you're not really aware, you are aware people are telling you, hey, it's a rough market, it's going to be really hard. How did you come into this financially prepared? I mean, was this, I've got to make money now, there's no nest egg, or...
You want me to be honest with you, or do you want me to tell a feel-good story?
No, I don't like the feel-good, be honest.
Yeah. So, no, the truth is I wasn't prepared for, again, theme here, noticing a theme, I wasn't prepared for it. I had saved $10,000, and I thought, I genuinely thought that'll get me through. And I quickly realized it didn't. So the fun part was, it was just months before my wedding that I'd quit my job, 6 months before my wedding. And I didn't have the money. Luckily, I had my mom lent me some money, not a lot, but she basically lent me another $10,000. So I had $20,000 to kind of get started with. And, I guess had I started out with 20,000 savings, that would have been great. I could have done it. I just was in a position where I had already been out of the house for years. I owned a home at this time. I was engaged. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I had a lot of responsibilities, just like a lot of people who want to get into real estate have. And I say this not to give myself credit, but it didn't matter to me. I was just going to make it happen. So I'm definitely one of those jump in the deep end and then figure out how to swim type of people. I'm not I have to have it all figured out. I kind of just went for it. And it turned out that while I thought I was prepared, I wasn't. And like anything else, I made it work. Like, had my mom not lent me the money, and it's not like my mom had a lot of money to lend me. She did it because she believed in me, and I was very fortunate to borrow that money, and I repaid her as quickly as I can in like 8 or 9 months. And the thing is that it didn't matter. Had she not lent me the money, I would have made it work some other way. Like, I would have got rid of my house sooner. I would have got a roommate. I would have, you couldn't go drive for Uber, Lyft then, but I would have done some, I'd have gone and waited tables or sold stuff or whatever.
Right.
It didn't really matter to me, but yeah, so I wasn't prepared though. I was not prepared.
I don't know that most people are. So that sounds about right to me for jumping into this. So you help out Fred. He's going on his honeymoon. You're doing some hard work. You're not even sure if you're going to get paid. What makes you continue to work with those short sales? Because you saw the opportunity that no one else was?
Yeah, luckily I did get paid. And so that was nice because paychecks are nice. And I realized that, like, I don't know, because I just had some start coming to me, like, because that's in Phoenix in 2007. So now we're talking about like towards the fourth quarter, 2007. I mean, there was no traditional market. It was, you either had, if you wanted to list houses, you either had short sales or you had REO accounts or you had homes that didn't sell. And I definitely was not into homes that didn't sell. And so I also was not into going back to work for a bank. So I wasn't going to take REOs at the time. And so it was short sales. So I kind of, to be straight with you, I took what came to me. I just lead generated the best I knew how. And that brought me some buyers and it brought me some short sale opportunities. And then as we got more focused, as Fred and I started working together, like more formally in early 2008, that's when we started to get focused on generating short sales and just realized, like, wow, for sure, nobody else wants to do this. Let's go for it, because I think we can really get a lot of these, and we can figure out how to make this work and how to make us money.
So did you know Fred before he came to you at the market center and said, hey, help me out?
Yeah, I recruited him. I didn't even realize I was recruiting him, but I'd known him for years. Like, I actually know Fred because him and my wife have known each other since, I don't know, like second or third grade. They went to elementary school together. They went to college together. They've been really good friends, and him and I connected over real estate before I actually got in. He was already a licensed real estate agent. We had some similar interests, and so we'd hung out quite a bit. And so when I got into real estate, he was sort of making his way back into real estate from another business he had. Mm-hmm. And so we connected that way and then ended up working together.
So how did y'all decide to form that partnership then?
It was total necessity. Again, not a lot of strategic planning here. We knew, so the long story is, we had a good buddy named Mark who was generating a lot of business, and he had a real estate license, but he had a job. He had another sales job, and he couldn't. He's a great lead generator. He's not a great executor or anything else in the business, and so he was like looking for a referral source. We're like, why wouldn't you just send these to us? Well, that's how a conversation started over a lunch over Mexican food, which is also a theme with Fred and I. And so we started talking that day, like, why don't we just go sit in an office together? And at the time, his little brother, who likes to take credit for starting Group 4610, he was kind of working for both of us part-time, like just doing little tasks, like basically listing assistant type tasks, because on an hourly basis. And we said, why don't we see if we can get Brian to work for us full-time, 40 hours a week. We'll go rent 2 offices, and we'll just see what can happen. Like, let's see if we can help each other. Maybe if we sit in the same room and negotiate short sales, it'll be easier than sitting alone at home, because it sucks getting hung up on all the time when you've got no one to vent your frustration to. And so that's really how it happened. So we go to our broker, OP, who owned another brokerage, and that was totally empty and a complete disaster. I think they had like 1 office rented out or 2 offices rented out of the 30 or 40 they had. And we just said, hey, can we just rent office space from you up here? And he said, yeah. So we rented 2 office spaces. We put his brother in one, and we put the 2 of us in the other. And we kind of went to town. We made an agreement on a financial arrangement, what that would look like for anything we already had, and then anything in the future that was generated. We sort of just went to town, not really on purpose trying to form a partnership or a business. We were just trying to make some money, to be totally straight with you.
Sure.
We had our backs to the wall, both in massive debt. Both had, we're both newly married. He got married in July of 07. I was married in October of 07. And so we both had a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders, and we were just trying to make it work. And that was kind of the beginning of it. And it blew up really fast. And then we realized, oh man, we actually have to, we have to formalize this because there's something here. And so that's when we started getting very purposeful about what we were doing.
That's really cool to hear. That's really awesome. If you don't mind, I don't think you will because I know how open you are. Will you tell people kind of initially what y'all did as that financial structure, that compensation structure for how if you brought in the business, if he brought in the business when it was more of the informal partnership?
Yeah, totally. And this is great because now I can just send people to this link because I get this question a lot, and people will actually, this is probably the thing people want to talk to me about the most. It feels like the last couple of years is we have this agreement that we drove to Yuma, where I'm from, and we had Mexican food at the best Mexican restaurant on the planet, Chili Pepper. And we drove there and back and forth to basically have lunch and to talk about what this would look like financially, because we were both in situations where we were kind of the ones left holding the bag from our business partners. And we were both determined to never let that happen again. And so what we had come up with an agreement initially was, hey, if I brought in the business, whoever brought in the business, they received 85% of the income and the other person received 15% of the income. And then, and vice versa. And if for some reason, because of who we were and what we were doing, brought in business because we're working together, then we would just split that 50-50. But most of the income was split 85-15 in favor of whoever generated the lead, but the expenses were split 50-50. So the cost of employing his brother full-time, the cost of all the faxes, because at that time we were having to fax all of our short sale packages in, the cost of the office rent, etc. That all was split 50-50. So nobody could live off the other person. Like you actually had to pull your own weight, and we both wanted it that way. And we were very clear, like it was in writing. We came into that quote unquote partnership with like 11 or 12 listings at the time. And we actually wrote those down. Like, here's what you get paid on this one. Here's what I get paid on this one. Here's what each one of those properties. And we just had this document that we emailed to each other back and forth throughout the year. Every time we'd update it. So, it was 85-15 and then it was 80-20 and 75-25. And we eventually, after about 3 years, got to 50-50 because almost everything we were doing was 50-50 and it was causing our administrative staff more work than anything. But it kept us really competitive. And to this day, like if you log into our system, we track a lot of things. We track a lot, so much, and we're so competitive that we still track if it's from my sphere or his sphere versus anybody else's sphere in the business. Because we want to see at the end of the year who generated the most business.
Oh, totally.
Even though we split it 50-50 now.
I mean, we're not competitive at all, clearly.
Yeah, a little.
Guys, if you're watching this, I'll have Kevin send me that link that he was talking about that now displays this for y'all to actually go and look at, just so that you can have access to it. So send that to me and we'll put it in the comments below. Okay, so when y'all did unofficially form this partnership, are we still 2007 or are we 2008 yet? 2008.
So it's February of 2008, February 1st, 2nd, whatever that first Monday was. We walk into this office and we bring our files, our paper short sale files, and we kind of start setting up shop and going to town. And it was quite the wild ride. We closed 60 transactions that year, which is really my first full year, my first full calendar year in real estate. And of those 60, probably 35 to 40 of them closed in the fourth quarter.
Wow. That's amazing.
So we're broke as hell. Broke AF for sure. During that time, like we've got some stories from those days, no doubt about it. And we went to town, and you know what? It blew up quickly. Like I can remember, it felt like we went from those 12 listings to 50 overnight. I mean, it really felt like it was overnight because we started teaching classes, and so people were referring us deals. It was quite the experience, and that's another reason why, looking back, like it was a total advantage to me to be in such a quote unquote crappy market because it allowed us to build our business. That I don't know that we could have built it that fast in a more traditional market.
Yeah, because most people do that in 3 to 6 years, assuming, and that's still giving them more credit than probably most deserve. Okay, so when y'all did end up growing really quickly, did you have to add people to your team? So at this point you had Fred's brother, but did we add people then when we went to 30, 40, 50 listings?
Yeah, we were really smart about it too. Like we just grabbed whoever was willing to help, friends, family members, etc. I think you know how that goes. It's that would have been as well as we put the plan into it. And so, our first real hire, I always say it was the first real hire. Her name was Heather. She was actually the MCA of the market center and had quit her job. She had put in her notice. She was looking for a different opportunity. And she approached us and she said, hey, I see what you guys are doing and what you're building here. I think I could be a resource. And so it turned out that worked out. And so we started working together with Heather. And she was our first real hire. And she was awesome. She helped us start getting systematized and actually building things so we could focus on what we did at that time was to lead generate. We taught short sales classes, and then to make money, we actually closed short sales, which meant him and I were on the phones with banks like 30, 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. So that was like our first formal move towards, okay, let's go make this a business.
I love that, though. I love someone like that who saw the opportunity and the vision with you guys and just jumped in. Also, kind of like yourself, not really knowing where it may officially lead.
Yeah, she totally took a chance on us when she approached us, and it was kind of like, I was kind of like, are you sure? You sure you want to join this crazy train? And she was like, yeah, I'm in. And so we worked together for a number of years, and it was awesome. And so that was kind of really the first formation of it was then. So that was like middle of 08. Mm-hmm. It was July of 08 that she joined us, and we went to town. We got to work.
Is she still with you today, or
not? She is a designated broker of her own company now in Tempe, and she's awesome. I run into her every once in a while at Starbucks and see each other online, of course, and stuff. So she's doing awesome with her business, and she helped us she was with us for 2.5 or 3.5 years, and it was really good. It was a really good transition for her. It was a really good transition for us. Mm-hmm. She helped us get our footing where we needed it. I think we helped her gain some experience that she needed, and it kind of helped her to where she's going today, and it helped us to where we're at today.
Love that. Love that. So, okay. So tell me, so it sounds kind of like we hired a little bit, like you said, out of necessity. She saw the opportunity. When did it become, okay, that was your first step to treating it like a business, but when did you mentally make that choice, or how did you make that choice of, yes, we want to grow and get other people in this organization? When did it become this team?
That's the one thing I think that we really did right is we hired people because we had to, because we had generated so much, we just couldn't do anymore. There wasn't enough hours in the day for us to get everything done. And there wasn't, so that's when we started hiring people, and neither one of us were willing to get up and go show homes at the time because we were too busy on the banks with short sales and fielding calls from homeowners. So that's what forced us into hiring buyer's agents. And we saw that we were really lucky because we taught short sales and we gave away all of our content for free for a number of years. We had a lot of introductions to people, so we had some great mentorship from other people, and so that was what, that helped us get purposeful about it fairly early. Not that we did everything right, because we didn't. We screwed up a lot. But I remember going to our first recruit select class in August of 2009. So a year and a half in, we're going, okay, we got to get way better at this. What do we got to do? And somebody had told us, hey, you got to go to this class. And sure enough, that, was a good step for us.
Okay, so now what's the market doing? You're adding buyer's agents. You're doing short sales. What does their structure look like? Did you have structure on your team?
Yeah, the reality is we looked like it. So if you're familiar with the millionaire real estate agent model, we looked like that. We looked like that team. Like we had a lead buyer's agent. He had showing assistants. We had, a lead listing agent who was on salary. Mm-hmm. We had an administrative staff, transaction coordinator. Like we looked like a millionaire real estate agent team model. The only difference was our listings were short sales. They weren't traditional sales. Mm-hmm. That stayed that way for a number of years from like a model standpoint. And so we just kept growing. We just kept putting in the effort to growing our business every single year. And, we made some changes further on down the road, which we can get into if you'd like to, but after we made some huge mistakes, but like all the way through 2011 and into 2012, like we still, even 2012, when the market was shifting back to a more traditional market, we were mm-hmm. still mostly doing short sales and running an MREA model team just with short sales as our listings. And then made a big change in into 2012 and into 13 and another big change in 14 that set us up where we're at today.
And even though you have the lead listing specialist who's salaried, you and Fred are still ultimately the rainmakers for the team at this point, right? With your short sales.
Yeah, at that point, like we're the rainmakers. We're not listing the properties, but we are handling I'm mostly at this point handling the upfront consultations. Fred is running the kind of the short sale negotiation department. And then Stephanie, who is actually with us now, she's our one of our number one agents in our company. She's in our Nashville location as a salesperson, and she kicks butt with just in the traditional market now in Nashville for us. She was taking all of our listings, so I started slowly training her. I actually hired her in 2009, and she just kept working her way up and kept taking more and more responsibility. So by the time 2012 rolled around, she was taking all of the listings. I wasn't even going on the appointments. I would do the phone consultation. And then once people would start submitting their paperwork, she would take it and run. And I would never basically deal with it again until there was problems or we need to talk to somebody. But I would handle sort of the front end stuff and mm-hmm. Things like that. And she ultimately took over that job for me too. And so that's what it looked like.
So this is what you've known. This is how you built your business. What did you do when the market shifted to what's known as starting to become a great market?
Yeah, that was I did a lot of going, what the F am I going to do? So there's a whole other story in there, which I won't go into, but let's just say I got distracted. Fred got distracted. We left the state of Arizona for a while for another opportunity. So while the market is shifting, and we basically get up and leave our business. It's still running, of course, and mm-hmm. we're having our best year ever. And it's also at the same time falling apart. Like Stephanie doesn't really want to do what she's doing anymore. There's conflict with her and one of the other leaders, quote unquote leaders in the company. And we're doing a really poor job of being leaders for this company. And so things start to fall apart and the market's shifting. So by the time we got back into the business towards the end of that year, fourth quarter 2012, we realized like, crap, things look really good right now, but we've got a big problem on our hands and we got to solve this. And truthfully, it looked like by the time January 2013 rolled around, Fred and I were the only two salespeople in the company. And we had to make some serious changes. And I took the role of lead listing agent. Fred took the role of lead buyer's agent. And we kind of started over in 2013. And that's the year I like to tell people like that I learned how to be a realtor, because I actually had to take listings where I didn't know more than anybody else on the planet. Like you couldn't beat me in a short sale. If we were competing for the same short sale listing, you couldn't beat me. Nobody could beat me.
I believe it. That's how we found out about you. That's how we followed you then.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's so funny. That's how a lot of my relationships that I have with people came from that time. And then I had to learn how to get listings, and that was like a nice kick in the teeth for about a year. So that sucked. And our business went backwards for the first time ever. We'd sold like 219 houses in 2012.
Wow.
And then in 2013, we were like 130. So, and it sucked because Fred and I were doing all the work. We were basically the only salespeople, with the exception of we hired one salaried kind of buyer's agent, but she had other responsibilities too. And she's still with us to this day and is one of the top agents in the company, if not the top, the 5 years now this month that she's been with us as a salesperson. We totally started over.
Wow. So tell me then about the restructuring of that. So y'all had to figure it out, but I mean, now we're to the point where you're this huge organization. So what did it look like when you were rebuilding?
So it looked like 2013 rolls around. Fred and I are the agents. We have one amazing transaction coordinator slash administrative extraordinaire. Her name is Sherry. And we just sort of go to town. Like, we literally cut all lead generation budgets. That's the thing about 2013 is, so you could go, oh, wow, you closed 130 deals. That's great. Yeah, but I'll actually pat myself on the back, not because of that, but because we didn't spend a dime generating leads that year. All we did is follow up on old leads and take referrals. Like, that was it. Didn't spend a dime on new leads. And so we had, I guess there was one other admin at the time who had stuck around, and she really became like had to do a lot of, wear a lot of different hats. And so I got to learning how to take listings, and I learned the hard way, got my butt kicked mostly for the first few months. And Fred started closing buyers, thank goodness. And we still had some short sales that would come in, and, we definitely had our unfair share of short sales still because of just the presence we'd had for so long. And that's, that helped us get by. But the reality was I had to learn how to take listings, and that was tough. So 2013, hire a salaried buyer's agent. And she, she's awesome. And then we hired another one in 2014, and we start to quote unquote figure out how to run a more traditional business and with listings and buyers. And Fred's now moved over and is helping me with listings. And by 2014, and we're starting to get our footing right and figure this out. And then we just go, this sucks though. Like, I hate my business. It's great. It makes a lot of money, and I hate my business. This is not the business I want. And so we started asking questions, and I started interviewing people, not interviewing, but just like picking brains of like my friends. So I went to Brett Tanner, who is a friend of mine in this market. And we just sat down, and I said, Brett, sell me on your model. And he said, what do you mean? I said, tell me about your model, because the way your team operates is different than mine. And so he showed it to me, and it kind of like blew my mind. I went to Gubernick, and I asked him the same question. We went to Ben Kenny. Ben Kenny had been a friend of ours for years. And ultimately, Ben had invited Fred and I up to spend some time with him in Bellingham, and got to shadow him, stay at his house, like just learn everything we could from Ben over like a 3-day period. And kind of from that, we created this new model. Not created, we just sort of combined a couple of things that we liked that Ben was doing, a couple of things we liked that Brett and Brian were doing, and these other people. And we just decided, here's our new model. And so September of 2014, we come back and we decide, hey, things are going good, but we hate it. Like, I don't like my business. I don't like my job on a day-to-day basis. And so we're going to change things. And at the time, we had 2 salaried buyer's agents, which was great for the net percentage bottom line. And
for the company dollar. Yeah,
and not at all scalable. And so what we had to do was we made a big change. And so we started allowing our agents, first of all, our 2 salaried agents became commission only, and we helped transition them there. It's not like we cut them off. They might feel like they were cut off, but what they might forget is that we still paid them a salary for another 30 days and started paying them commissions on stuff that was already pending to make that like smooth for them. And I started hiring other people. And we just decided our agents we're going to train them how to take listings too. And so we started working our new model, and simultaneously had expanded into the Denver market, because, hey, if we're going to do things different, why not do them way different?
I love y'all style. Yeah, you just go all in.
Yes, all in. And so Denver, we opened September 1 of 2014 with Aaron Lebovic, who is still our leader, top guy in the state of Colorado today. And we went to town, and we just started working on building something new with this model, trying to do it there and trying to do it in Phoenix at the same time.
And how'd that go? I mean, obviously, Denver's still there. Phoenix is still there, so that's good.
Yeah, no, it went extremely well, to be honest. I mean, getting started in another market is a challenge. I think we closed 1 deal that first 4 months, and it was his mom. Literally his mom. So like anytime somebody bitches to me about a commission split because it's from their sphere, I'm like, Aaron's first deal with his mom. It was his mom. Like, I don't want to hear it. And so he, but 2015 rolls around and we closed like 7 deals in January. And this is just in Denver. And 6 deals the next month and 5 deals the next month. And then 7 deals. Like it just, now we're rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we go from like 160 closings in 2014 to 380 in 2015. Wow. And like, it was a big ride, like a big rocket ship. And at that time, Stephanie Weaver sort of came back into our life from a standpoint of, she had moved to Nashville and wanted to get back into real estate. And so we thought we were geniuses because of how well it was going in Denver. So why not expand in Nashville too? Mm-hmm. So we expanded in Nashville and started working there. And there you go. It was like kind of off to the races at that point.
But you know what I noticed between both of that is you had the who. You had the right person.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You can't do anything without the right person. I mean, you can, but it'll be very short-lived.
Right. And because y'all also knew Aaron before Denver, right? Before he opened that location?
We met him through short sale team. Again, like so many of my really great relationships that I have today are met through teaching short sales. He ran a different company, a software company that provided data to investors and real estate agents on foreclosures and short sale filings. And he wanted to sponsor one of our classes that we were teaching in Denver. And we just formed a friendship and stayed in touch. And I did this weird thing that realtors do sometimes where they keep in touch with people and they call people. And, one thing led to another. We don't have the kind of time to really like go into the details of like how we got into that, but that's basically what happened. Yeah.
So, and y'all are really some of the first doing expansion. I mean, like you mentioned, there's others like Gubernick and Tanner. We've got Ben Kinney, of course. There's a few others in our company who are doing this, and of course elsewhere outside of just Keller Williams, because this isn't just like a big Keller Williams rah-rah pitch or anything like that. But y'all are one of the first ones to do it successfully, and you're opening multiple locations pretty quickly compared to most. So, I mean, is that now where y'all are growing as an organization, is continuing to do more locations and expanding across the U.S.?
No, really not. I mean, are we going to continue to expand? Yes. Is that our strategy? No. The strategy is to get as deep as we can in every location that we're in currently. Okay. And when when the next Aaron Lebovic shows up, or the next Mike Turnquist, who is our leader in San Luis Obispo County, when he shows up, you know what I mean? So when those people show up, that's when we go. That's when we'll go again. Sure. But the truth is we did expand too fast, just like everybody else, because we thought our systems were better than they really are. We learned a lot, and I'm not upset about that at all. We learned a lot from the mistakes that we made, and we've shut a few locations down like everybody else has. Mm-hmm. And what we've done is we've just taken our lumps, we've taken our lessons and go, but how can we make what we do have better by utilizing what we've learned? And so we've learned a whole lot. And even when we were opening a lot of locations, what seemed like very quickly, and we still have quite a few locations open, it was never about, can we open this many locations? It's always been about how many people can we get into business with? So what's our agent count? What's the production of those agents? Things like that. How can we support them? Those are the questions that we ask ourselves. It's never been about, can I have 100 locations or 500 locations? It's more like, can we have 500 agents?
I love that. You actually are the one who opened our mind to that, because I think with expansion, it's really being pitched as, open a lot of locations, and people don't expect to go deep. People don't expect you to have more than, or they're saying it's a success with X amount of volume or units there, but you're talking about going deep, which is, from a business perspective, you totally shifted my mindset on this as far as insulating yourself too as a business, so that you can always make sure you're in business regardless of who you're in business with, which was a huge mindset shift you had with me in 2017. Yeah. And so seeing that y'all are doing that in locations too, I think is pretty cool. And that you can essentially, you're recreating your hub everywhere you go. And there's no reason that your expansion doesn't have to be as successful, as productive as the hub location there in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, the hub. You're using words that people I think give different definitions to. So like for us, our salespeople are in one office, our hub. So all of our support staff is in another office, and that's the way that works. And so we want to go deeper, like I would call it, the Tempe market, right, or the Tempe market center for us, as opposed to the hub. The hub is the place where the back end operations happen in my world. And so we don't, but yes, like the overall theme, we want to go deeper everywhere we're at. We want to be able to have, last year in Denver or in Colorado last year, it was basically $60 million in real estate, right? I want to do that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically that in Phoenix as well. And so like I want Phoenix to do significantly more than that. I want Denver to do more than that. I want Tucson and Yuma and San Luis Obispo. I want everywhere to get as deep, Nashville, everywhere to get as deep as we can. So that way they're all producing 30, 40, 50, $60 million, whatever they can, right? As deep as we can go in those locations, as opposed to doing that type of volume spread out over, 27 different cities or whatever.
Okay. So, and now you guys are in the expansion game. We're growing this. What does your structure look like, especially now that it's more of a traditional model compared to, I'm sure short sales are still a part of your business in some capacity, but what's the structure look like for your sales team, for your agents?
Yeah, so essentially there's like a local leader. I'm not going to use titles because I feel like we always change the meaning of titles and things like that, and everyone's got a different meaning. So essentially there's leaders in every location that, maybe not every single location, but there's a leader, there's a salesperson responsible. There's obviously salespeople who are there and they work with buyers and sellers, and all of our agents are empowered to work with both. Not all of them get listing leads. However, the more experienced ones do, and everyone's allowed to go generate their own listing leads as well. And we fully encourage that. Then there's people in a leadership role who have some sort of combination of some personal production and recruiting. And it's tough to do both. Like, it's really hard to do both. It takes a special person to do both. It takes a Joe Oubre in Nashville or Aaron Lebovic in Denver, or Mike Turnquist in San Luis Obispo County. It takes a lot. We've played around with our model quite a bit. We've had people who purely just recruited, and then we'd run into production problems with those people, whereas we wouldn't have that problem with people who were only recruiting other people in production while they were also in production. And so we've really tinkered around with it, because the reality is you don't know. Like, I remember sitting in a room with Gary Keller. This was 2016 probably, in this very small mastermind group he has of expansion agents. And he said to me, he's like, hey, don't fall in love with your model. It's going to change quite a bit over the next 5, 6, 7 years. And what you need to do is you need to find the right people to be in business with and worry about that. Don't worry about your model. And he's right. Like, that has come true over and over again. That has been a central theme, that the model is going to shift. It's going to change. It's going to evolve. Like, you're not going to get it right out the gate. So don't think that you are. Like, don't fall in love with your model so hard you can't see the holes in it. We've certainly seen the holes in it, and we've tried to adjust when we can and adapt when we can. And we're still doing that in real time. Yeah.
I think that makes total sense. You, once again, have actually been someone who helped me with that too. So tell me, what is your day-to-day life now? So you're not in production anymore and haven't been, right?
Yeah. So I really haven't been in production for a number of years, for about 5 years, 4.5, 5 years. I don't know, a while. I took a listing a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago. I think out of pride, because I wanted to prove to some people how easy it was. It was dumb, but whatever. In the house, it was easy. It took me like 4 hours of my time to sell a house and generate $9,000. So that was awesome. And I think I did it because people just don't believe me that it can be easy and that you can make people work on your own schedule. And so today, so real time, like, what is this, April 12th, 2018, my day-to-day looks like I am the local leader in the Tempe office and for Arizona. We've had some transition here in Arizona. We've had some house cleaning to do. We had to get rid of some people, get out of business with some people who weren't a great fit for us. And so I'm like literally the team leader, if you will, or the rainmaker. And so I spend part of my day recruiting. I spend part of my day working with our agents, kind of helping them, reviewing contracts before they send them out, just, practicing scripts is something that I strongly believe in. I still spend a little bit of my day running the business. Like Fred doesn't lion share that, but it's our business. We make decisions together. So I still have responsibilities there. And so I spend a lot of my time, over those things. And so as you can tell, I'm like really spread out. Sorry, my computer's on top of my paper calendar. So I've started using like this win by noon paper calendar to make sure I'm hitting all my things. Like I'm sending out handwritten notes to my sphere and to the people I care about and referral partners and things like that every day. So I do that as well. That includes clients, other agents, other referral partners, etc. Because I'm generating business, whether I'm generating leads or I'm generating leads for talent. I'm still doing that on a daily basis. So, I mean, that's really what my time looks like. And
I think that's so cool to hear, because I think a lot of people are like, yes, I'm out of production, I'm done lead generating, but that's always a part of it, right?
Step on the gas pedal of lead generation if you come out of production.
Right. We're all just glorified ISA.
You got to be better at it. Like people want to, I think one of the bigger mistakes I see these teams make is that they want to just go and outsource their success. Like bad news, an ISA is not going to do it as well as you do. Like if you're an agent, I hope you realize that. Like you're not going to just go hire an ISA and they're going to be as awesome as you are, and now you get to go work part-time. No, now you need to focus your efforts even more in your 20%. And that's the thing that I spend my time doing is what's on my calendar is my 20%. And by the way, what's on my calendar is what I do. Like that's I think that's the thing where people go, I'm having problems with time management. You're not having problems with time management. People don't have problems with time management. They have problems following through with their commitments. They don't follow through with the commitment they made with themselves in their calendar. And they have all these really great reasons for doing it. As you can tell, I'm like mildly passionate about this. They have all these really great reasons as to why they don't show up to scripts and to why they can't lead generate and to why they had to schedule an appointment at 9:30 in the morning instead of making lead gen calls. Like they're committed to their mediocrity instead of being committed to their success and committed to their calendar. And so when you step out of production, you actually need to go to a different level of accountability with yourself and with your calendar and with what matters most in your business.
Oh my gosh. I love everything you just said. If no one else watches the rest of this podcast or webinar, listen to this part. I wish I timed what part this happened in, because
I knew that if we talked for an hour, I would get at least 30, 40 seconds of like really good content out there. Like I knew that.
This is all for 30 or 40 seconds.
Story of my life, and I won't even make the next joke. So let's move it on.
Oh God. Okay. So we only have a few minutes left, but I had a few people reach out to me and ask me some questions that they wanted to hear from a high performer like you. So One of those was they want to know what your mindset is around breaking through plateaus and how you do that.
Yeah. So one thing that I always learned, and I kind of default to this when I realize I'm at a plateau. Number one is being real with yourself, so you realize you're at a plateau. And then number two is like Gary Keller said to me a long time ago, when you're at a plateau, you're probably missing a relationship. And I started asking myself the question, like, what relationship am I missing here? Is it an accountability relationship? Is it a skill set relationship? Is it somebody like, do I need to learn something new here? What is it I need to add? Who do I need to learn from? And here's the thing about plateaus. It typically means we need to be behaving differently. And so usually that takes an outside set of eyes to tell us how we're behaving and what we need to be behaving differently, how we should consider behaving differently.
Love that. Spot on. The other thing that someone asked is they want to know what your work-life balance looks like and kind of what your mindset is behind work-life balance.
Well, balance is bullshit. Like there's no such thing as balance. Like If you would like to make money, and trust me, I am not like a Gary Vaynerchuk, work 24 hours a day. That's stupid too. Like, I love a lot of what Gary Vee says. I hate that.
I love him.
I love him too, but I hate that message because that's cheating with time, and you don't have time. Your family will not. You can't get back to the time with your family. You can't get back time with your friends. You can't get back time with yourself once you've spent it. And so then you've got to look at it as something you invest or spend. And so work-life balance to me is bullshit. What you got to understand, like somebody said to me yesterday, he looked at it as like a rubber band, which is like, okay, when I need to go to the next level, I'm gonna stretch my rubber band quite a bit, and then it's gonna come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do, like, I've got some non-negotiables in my life, and that has to do with like the time that I spend at home, and the amount of time I'm willing to work. And so what that requires me to do is while I'm working, to do what my calendar tells me to do, because I have non-negotiables.
Okay. I agree. I love what you said about the Gary Vee too. Like we said, he's our boy, but you challenged me to that this past year with you're cheating with time. So I think that's so important for people to consider. At least everyone's going to have their own opinion, but I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I guess I would look at it this way. So this isn't like, hopefully it doesn't seem like sexist or anything, but like I would look at like females, okay, because I'll look at some agents who are moms and they are very much present for their kids and they run massive businesses, which tells me that they're not working 20 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that means like working 20 hours a day isn't the only way to success. And they're having success. Some of the ones I know, especially that I'm close with, and I'm sure you would know them by name if I said their name, like they also have a great family life. Mm-hmm. And then I look at some other people, male or female, that they work 15 hours a day or 20 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you can do that in the short run and that shit will catch up with you. It can cost you your health. It can cost you key relationships, and it can cost you your mental sanity. Like it's just not worth it to work that much. And so I don't recommend that people work that much. Like, I think you can work. We need to all put in the work. It's funny because there's a balance. Everyone wants to be like Grant Cardone or Gary Vee, or they like want to work 3 hours a day.
I think I know both of those people.
So do I. They're all real estate agents. It's funny.
Okay, Kevin, tell us what's in y'all's future. What do you see for the rest of 2018? What's in y'all's future for 2019?
Yeah. So in our future, continued growth, continued depth. I'm really excited about some of the changes we've made within our company, from like a organizational structure and what we offer to our agents. So I think we'll continue to shake things up, and we'll continue to grow our production and grow our people and grow more leaders. That's part of it. I'm really excited. Fred and I have a focused effort on providing more content and education for other agents. We focus so hard on bringing that to our own folks, and we're still doing that, but now we've got more help doing that. And so we'll continue to push out as much good content as we can. As you know, you're a member of our Facebook group, Next Level Agents.
Mm-hmm.
A big event coming up. Like, that's a lot of fun for us because it allows us to grow and stretch in other ways too. And so that's part of what we're doing as well. And just looking to, here's the deal. Here's the thing I believe. Now, this could be like a cheesy statement, but I believe that we are paid in direct portion to the value that we bring to the world. And so if that's true, if I want more money, I need to find a way to bring more value. And so that's like Fred and I really sit around and we challenge ourselves on the value that we're bringing and how we can bring more value, both inside of Group 4610 and outside.
That's so powerful. You know, he's actually pretty humble here. He didn't say his numbers and I didn't say it, just so y'all know before we end up popping off here, them and their organization killed it in 2017. So they did over 550 transactions. 552
deals.
About 552 for 150 million in volume.
Yeah, technically it's 149.9, but who's counting?
Love it. Okay, so you just kind of very subtly mentioned Next Level Agents and the event y'all have coming up here in May. So go ahead and tell our audience here how they can support you, what you have coming up, and how they can get more involved in your world.
Yeah, awesome. So about a year and a half ago, I had the crazy idea to start a Facebook group to bring value to realtors. And because I didn't like what I saw out there in that space, and I just saw it as opportunity. So myself and Fred and Cody Gibson all partnered on this Facebook group called Next Level Agents. It had a different name. I had to change the name because it was stupid, and because I thought of it in like 3 seconds.
It's very long.
Yes, it was. And so now it's just called Next Level Agents. And so we're excited. We're about 22,000, almost 23,000 members strong. There's really good engagement in there. Most of the topics are about becoming next level, and most of the topics in there are there to help us grow. And, it's anytime you get 23,000 people together, not everything's going to be high level. And I think we do a pretty damn good job of monitoring that. Mm-hmm. We have got our first live event coming up on May 18th in Las Vegas, Nevada, called Next Level Agents Live. And we have got, our goal was to just put together the best one-day event in the real estate industry, not company specific. So we have got Jason Abrams coming to speak. We've got my dear friend Chelsea Pites, who is like a social media freaking genius. Like, trust me, she is the one.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Social media when it comes to real estate. She will be speaking. Travis Tom, who is so good at Facebook ads in the real estate world. Facebook sought him out to get advice from him on real estate and their platforms and what they're working on. So Travis, who runs his agency, will be there to talk about Facebook ads. John Cheplack, who is the authority, in my opinion, when it comes to recruiting and leadership in our space, will be there speaking. Dustin Runyon, who not enough people know, but is quite literally my favorite speaker on the planet. He also happens to be a good friend of mine. He'll be speaking. Via Williams from Pacific Northwest in Seattle, who runs the Via Group, will be there. She kicks ass.
Yes, she does.
Veronica Figueroa, who is with RE/MAX, one of the top RE/MAX agents in the country, 2017 Inman Innovator of the Year, is speaking. We've got, in my opinion, the lineup of lineups, and I'm so excited for it. So we're doing that. It's a one-day event. If you're interested in information on that, you can go to nlalive.com. NLA stands for Next Level Agents, nlalive.com. Or you could request to join the group, and one of the admins will add you. And so that's that.
That's awesome. And guys, their group really is amazing. The level of conversation that happens in there is insane. Kevin also will meet with other individuals like this and have them talk about whatever their expertise is. So you just get constant knowledge dropped on you by him, Fred, Cody. Jason's in there a lot, Brian's in there a lot, or anyone else that they bring in. Joshua Smith was one that you recently did something on. It's just really great, well-rounded. Besides those two groups, where can people reach you if they need to? Facebook, awesome. Snapchat, anything? Yeah,
but by the way, so Joshua Smith will also be at speaking at Next Level Agents Live as well. So the best way to get on, honestly, I feel like I'm most active on Instagram these days, just because I like it. I really like that platform. So that's just Kevin_Kauffman. You can find me on Snapchat. That's mostly just pictures of my kids and with crazy filters, or of me doing stupid things like using a clothes steamer to open up the pores on my nose so I can use my niece's pore cleaner. So Snapchat's a lot of fun, but understand I'm really goofy. Snapchat and Twitter, I use basically just to goof off. And then Facebook, I've got a business page, which is the best way to connect with me, or in the Facebook group, Next Level Agents. That's really where I'm most active, is inside the Facebook group, Next Level Agents, or my Facebook page, which is just kevinkaufman.co, I think, because .com wasn't available. I don't know. And then and then Instagram, which is Kevin_Kauffman. So follow me there. And don't, as I always like to say, don't follow me, engage me. I don't like followers. I like to engage with people. And that's why I love social media. And so that's the easiest way to connect with me.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin, for being on. For everyone who's watching, we're going to throw the link to the Next Level Agents group in the comments so that y'all can easily access that. And awesome. Then we'll probably put a link there for your event too, so that they can quickly access that. Guys, the lineup is badass. He's a badass. We appreciate you watching. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me today. Super enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.